Hey guys, it's Sammy here. This is our first Zoom interview. I'm here with the beautiful. She's to my left, so hopefully this looks that way when you guys see the recording. The beautiful Halima of Threads of Habit, and she agreed to basically like be my guinea pig because you guys know we've been doing Facebook Lives and had that down, and then Facebook said no more split shared screens with other participants. So I'm sorry that you guys can't comment live to Halima. I know that she would have loved that, but she's in Thrift Boss Babe. So if you have any questions, just tag her.
Yep, I'm here.
She is here and she is ready for it. Halima, where are you, by the way? Are you in New Jersey?
Yes, I am in Glen Ridge, New Jersey.
Oh, I know all about Glen Ridge. We'll talk offline. I used to live in Montclair.
Oh, okay.
Water Street Theater.
Perfect. Okay.
So really, really close. Probably like I could run to you. So I know Halima actually through Dasha, one of our Thrift Boss babes. She was like, you need to meet Threads of Habit. You need, like, literally, she told me this like 3 times. And I think I walked by you once and like I was busy and I didn't come back because Halima sells at a lot of the markets in New York City. And we're going to talk to her a lot about that today, and also just more about how she got started and where she's taking her business. She's been in the business for about 18 months, right? About 18 months?
Not even a year yet.
Not even a year.
Yeah, it was a side hustle in the beginning, but officially a business, it'll be a year in March.
Okay, so this is really exciting because we get to hear from her, her perspective as to what's worked and what gets to change. And a lot of you Thrift Boss babes are in a similar situation where either you just started or you are starting, like, gonna kick you guys in the booty to get started. So I know Halima's gonna have a lot to share. So let's start from the beginning. I love to ask people, when did the thrifting bug bite you?
So it bit me probably around the time I was like 8 or 9 years old. My grandmother, she had a donation-based thrift shop in Brooklyn.
Wow.
So I used to go through the donations and kind of like pick a few things for myself, knowing, that this is for people in need, essentially. But I always went through the donations and kind of picked, a few things for myself. So that's kind of when like the thrifting bug hit me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like in the late 90s.
Yeah. Awesome. So your grandmother ran the store, so you obviously have memories of it. And was it something that like she inherited, or like, do you know her story?
She even up until the time that she passed away, she always got donations from people who were just looking to give their stuff to people in need. My grandmother, like, she just had this major network. She was always giving, clothes to people that were like refugees. She was part of a mosque, so a lot of like people that came through the mosque, she would give them clothes and, whatever. So she was like, she always had donations in her house. Like, if anyone needed something, she was around and, they came to her to, get clothes or whatever. So, yeah.
I love that. It sounds like she had a huge heart.
Yeah, she absolutely did. And she passed it on like through my mother and then, down to me. So, the legacy lives on, really,
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how did you start selling? Like, it was a side hustle, obviously, as you said.
Yeah, it started as a side hustle. And there's actually like a funny story behind. But once I moved to Brooklyn, I started thrifting heavily. Like, I was on my own. I was like, oh my God, all these like pop-in thrift stores. And I was thrifting. And one day I was in one of the L Train vintage stores, and there was this purple and pink Leslie Faye dress. I tried it on.
Leslie Faye.
Yeah, like totally 80s Leslie Faye dress. I tried it on. I was like, oh, it's not for me. Like, I didn't end up buying it. And I remember it being $8.
Yeah.
And then I was on Etsy maybe like a month later, and I saw the dress. and I saw that the seller was from Brooklyn. So I was like, that's the same dress I tried on. And she was selling it for like $55 on Etsy. And so that was when I was like, ding, I'm doing this, you know?
That is fun.
And yeah. So that was when I was like, that was the moment where I was like, I thrift so much. And, you know, I literally, this same dress that I just tried on is now on Etsy. Someone's going to make, you know, $40 off of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do this. So that's how I started.
Oh my goodness. Good old Leslie Faye. You know, I met someone when I sold at the markets who was like, I think it was either like her mom was friends with Leslie Faye or her aunt or something. She's a New York City based designer from like the 60s.
Gotcha.
And like, yeah, if you know your like thrift labels, like that's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny. These like thrift labels. I'm like, oh, there's Blair. I know all Blair. Good to see you, Blair.
Right.
Been around, Blair. Okay, so back to like selling. So, well, actually, you know what? Let's not talk about that quite yet because I know that we will hit that. So, guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about how Halima sells, like all her different methods. But something I noticed about Halima, she's really strong in branding, and I have to applaud you because I thought you were in the business a little bit longer, and it sounds like it's been about 9 months. So, like, walk us through the process of like your name and like your brands, and also just to sort of like fast forward because this was another question, how you choose your clothes, because I've also seen your site and you're very consistent with your style.
Yeah. So, I mean, eventually your eye gets like much more stronger towards the pieces that you want to pick for your shop, because I know, like, I look back to when, you know, I first started my Etsy shop and I look at 2015, I was like, you know, why did I buy that? You know? So like as time goes on, I feel like my eye got a lot stronger in finding you know, the pieces that really speak to me, you know. So when I'm in a thrift store and I'm like, you know, when you find a piece and you gasp, it's like, you know, this is what I need for my shop.
Right.
And for me, it's also like a lot of the things that I sell, I would wear myself.
Cool.
So I think that's like, you know, that can be a pro and a con because it's very like specific to my personal style. But at the same time, like, I really just, you know, your eye gets stronger as time goes on. And like I said, it was a hobby in 2015 and I haven't really stopped this whole time. I'm always in the thrift stores, always hunting. So yeah, as time goes on.
Describe the pieces that you choose that represent Threads of Habit.
So Threads of Habit, you know, is it's bold prints. It's like all the unique pieces, things that make you say, oh my God, like this is so cool. You know, like sometimes when people come into my markets or when, you know, when they're in person and they're like, they kind of like laugh because they pick something up and they're like, oh my God, like, what is this? Like, I've never seen anything like this before. So those are the type of pieces that, you know, I want to include into my shop. And also as time has gone on and as my eye gets stronger for myself and my shop, I'm like, you know, I just kind of try and curate things a little bit better. So, you know, just being more selective about what it is I keep in my shop.
Absolutely, yeah, because you can go forward very quickly.
Yes.
All been there. So where does the name Threads of Habit come from?
So, of course, when I decided, you know, oh, I'm going to start my own shop, I asked all my friends, you know, what should I name my shop? And it started with one of my friends basically connecting my addiction or my habit to shopping and thrifting. And so from there, the word he used was addiction, but I started looking up other words that had to do with like addiction without being, you know, of a negative connotation. So habit came along and I was like, oh, habit also means clothes. So, you know, your habit. So I was like, oh, this could work. And there, you know, from that point, I started looking at like quotes that had to do with habit and things of that nature. So the quote that really like clicked everything was, it says, the chains of habit are too strong. I don't know if I'm saying this fully correctly, but the chains of habit are too weak to be broken until they're too strong. Something of that nature. It's on my website.
I love it.
So basically I replaced the chains with threads. So these, you know, these are the threads of my habit.
Yo, I love that. It sounds like a Bible verse.
It could be, yeah, but it's not a Bible verse, but
okay.
I randomly found the quote online once I was trying to research, like, what do I name my shop? Because it was very important to me that, you know, the name reflected me and, you know, what my shop was going to be. Because some of the suggestions were like, Halima's Vintage. I'm like, no, that's not, you know, that's not representative enough. That's just, you know, so Threads of Habit that's the name.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people find like just something that represents like an energy, right? So that's the direction you went, and then some people are just like, it's my name.
Yeah.
I'm the one. It does. I mean, branding's everything, right? Like I just posted this this great little like I forget what they're called. It's like a I forget what it's like an infographic.
Okay.
Branding, right? Where like, why is a sweatshirt $7 and then when it's by Off-White it's $300? Why is a cup of coffee off the street $1 and then when it's by Starbucks it's $2.75? Like it's all branding. So
right.
That's what you've created. So tell us really quickly before I jump into the next question, what are all the things you sell?
So this was the first year that I got into the markets, and that was always like a goal of mine. I remember when I first started, I told one of my best friends, I was like, you know, oh, I want to do Brooklyn Flea one day. And like, I just never got around to it, or, you know, I think I felt that the vendor fee was just too much at that point for someone who is just doing this as, you know, a side hobby. But this year, I got into the markets, which I really love. I try to sell on Depop sometimes. I'm on Etsy. I have my own website, and
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like, yeah.
Nice.
And eBay, which I just started.
Great.
Because through Shopify, you can link your like eBay to Shopify, which I didn't even know that till recently. So I just became like a seller on eBay. So I'm going to see how that goes too.
That's awesome. So you're on 3 online platforms and 1 in person. Do you ever do like in-person sales with friends or pop-up events, anything like that?
No, I haven't tried that. You know, just for me, the markets and getting out and, you know, dealing with the public and spreading the word. And that's really, you know, what I focused on like over the summer.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about in-person sales because a lot of us here don't do it. As in Thrift Boss Babes, some of us do. It is an art. It takes a lot of energy. So what have you learned has worked for you to like get a sale? Get a sale sounds aggressive, right? But just meet that energy between you and someone who walks into your booth.
Yeah, I like to call it maybe like my stylist hat that I put on once, you know, this is like once, you know, someone picks something up or they try something on, you know, I try and ask them like, oh, you know, like, what would you wear that with? Or, you know, I'll say how I would personally wear it. But also like being completely honest with people is important too. Like, don't just tell someone you should buy this because it's in your shop. Like, if it doesn't work on you, I'm going to tell you, you know? Like,
I love that.
and they respect that too. Like someone was like, I respect that you told me it doesn't fit me properly, you know? And like if it's something that can't be solved with like a belt or something,
Yeah.
then, you know, it's like it is what it is. So just, you know, being friendly, being yourself, just, you know, making sure that they're comfortable when they walk in your booth, and yeah.
Right. I love that. I love just the idea. I mean, I was telling one of our thrift class babes this the other day. It's like you just gotta strike up conversation with people because they'll come in
Yeah.
and they're out. You have to
Yeah.
be in there.
Yeah. It's like, and that's another thing. It's like you can't be offended by people that literally like walk in and out of your booth.
Yeah.
Or even people that like that cross your booth to get to the other side of the market or something. I'm like, you didn't even take a peek at my stuff. You just walked right through.
Right.
So you got to be strong too.
Seriously, and that's my next question, because like setting up and breaking down and like this whole market life is very taxing. So it's important to know where you're going to have more success. So what type of markets work best for you?
Can I say names
Yeah,
of
totally.
these markets? Okay, just checking.
You guys, if I'm sniffling, this is whatever the cold that I have, the flu cold.
So I really liked Hester Street Fair.
Uh-huh.
I felt like the crowd and the vibe and the music and the DJ like
Right.
really kind of fit, you know, the people that I would want to sell to. But essentially, like, I can sell to anyone because I've sold to little old ladies, you know, on the Upper West Side. Awesome. At Grand Bazaar, you know. So, but I really, you know, I really like the Hester Street Fair because of the vibe and the food, and you know, it's kind of like a younger crowd for, you know, you and me, as opposed to Grand Bazaar, which was more like upper class. You know, it's up there on, I can't, 50 something up there. 77. Yes, up 77. So
it's okay. 79.
Yeah.
It's up there. It's up there.
It's up there. So I definitely like the vibe of that. And then just trying to do like, I did Artisan Fleas, which I really liked. I did the Brooklyn one. The vibe in there also was really cool, and just like, you know, talking to other vendors and, you know, hang out and learning from them. So yeah, definitely like those three in the city.
So these are all New York, guys.
Yeah.
Hester Street, Lower East Side, Grand Bazaar is Uptown, West Side, and then Artisan Place, Brooklyn. So have you ever done anything and it's been like a huge fail? Like, oh my God, I didn't even make my booth rent.
Well, yeah, what I did was start Grand Bazaar at the wrong time. That's what I found. So I actually, they have like a package where if you know, do an introductory for 4 weeks, you get like, you know, a certain % off for the booth. So I decided to do this in August. And which is like, of course, the hottest month. So no one was really out. And then, you know, people are away during the summer. So it was kind of like a blow to me. Like, you know, oh, you know, this isn't as successful as I really hoped it would be. So I think I wouldn't say it was a fail, but it was definitely like a learning experience. And I probably should have waited until September to maybe do this package, because it was kind of like off-putting for me, I'll just say. Just being like, you know, in the heat, and it kind of like turned me away from the market. But I would definitely, you know, I had successful days there too. But I think just for me, like, starting in August with Grand Bazaar was like, shouldn't have done that.
I love that you're sharing this, because I wouldn't have thought that. I would have been like, oh, it's summer.
Yeah.
It's a market. Outdoors.
There was literally one day where it was like 80 something degrees and like nobody was outside, and we were all just dying in our booths. So.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Been there, girl. Okay. So speaking of mistakes, what are some mistakes that you've made that you've learned from that you would want to share?
I think that I would probably say that once I tried to get off of Etsy.
Okay.
I had this mindset that I want everything to be on my own website. I want everything to be on threadsofhabit.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to steer away from Etsy, and, you know, I'm going to drive all the traffic to my website. No, like that was a mistake, because there was a time where I was off Etsy and I was like, let me just focus on, you know, my own website.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is not, you know, the proper approach if I want to be seen on Etsy and eBay and all these different platforms. Like, I really need to be cross-posting everything I have.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to just focus on,
One,
you know,
yeah,
one singular platform being my website. So I definitely learned from that, because, you know, it's just me. You know, I'm probably going to try and get like a marketing intern in 2020 soon, because, you know, I want to drive traffic to my website, but me on my own, and then not really knowing a lot about marketing and just using Instagram for my marketing is not enough at this point. So
totally understandable. And yeah, I love that, because everyone's like, well, when I have my own site, I've made it, but
no.
Like, it's about being in all the places people want to find you.
Exactly.
And if you can figure out a system, which you know you are, where you're 3 to 4 different platforms, like the statistics of someone finding you are so much higher. It's just about ending your listings, obviously, when they bought that thing. Any other mistakes? And if I sneeze, guys, I'm so sorry. This is just my cold. I can feel it.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I would say that I quit my job, my full-time job, in late July. And so I really had the heart to do it, but I didn't have like the management ready and the routine, and like it's a big transition. And I'm still learning. Like I'm still learning. So I would just say, like, you know, researching more about like just how to be an entrepreneur in general would have helped me. You know, I didn't even know until, you know, maybe 6 months in the game that, you know, a lot of small businesses fail because they lacking operations and marketing. And I was like, oh, I don't have either. So I need to get my butt together, you know, and like figure this out. So I think, you know, that was one of the things. Like, I definitely had the passion, I had the heart to quit and do it, but I wish that I was a little bit more prepared and knew what I was getting into before I just, you know, made the leap. So, but I'm still learning. I'm not regretful of quitting at all, but, you know, it's a process.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I can research how to do a cartwheel, but eventually I have to just do the cartwheel. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a combination of both. But that's great advice, because I think a lot of people are like in that position of like, I am really overwhelmed. And then if they hear from someone like you or other people, like, it's normal. It's normal to like have all this time and not know what to do with it efficiently and efficiently. It's completely normal. And it's finding your own rhythm, you know, like that's my greatest advice to people, where I'm like, just test for yourself. But when you know that it's ready to work. Yeah. If you truly are a night owl, like, you get your stuff done. Like, if you remember from 8 to 12, like, go to bed as if you were going to your full-time job. So, okay. So let's talk about your website. So it is a beautiful website, and something we haven't talked about, really beautiful. Something we haven't talked about here in Thrift Boss Babes is creating a website. So I'm curious, what's the platform? How did you build it? All the things.
Yeah. So originally why I wanted my own website was because I also like upcycle and rework.
Right. We need to talk about
clothing. That. Yeah.
Yes.
I do that too. So when I wanted to start selling these things, I got back into the mindset of, I want my designs only on my website. I don't want someone to buy a piece that I made and tell their friend that they got it on Etsy. No, you should know that Halima made it. You got it from Threads of Habit, etc. So that's really why I started my own website, and I chose Shopify. I thought it was, they say it's just like the easiest to use.
Shopify, okay.
Yeah, I use Shopify. You do have to pay for it monthly, I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, I pay for it monthly. I think that there's a cheaper option. I pay like $30 a month, but I think there might be a cheaper option where maybe you only list a certain amount of pieces. I'm not sure, but I thought originally it was very overwhelming to make your own website. Even though they give you the templates, I was still like, I kind of had a vision of my website looking a lot more professional, like having, I don't know, based on like the templates that they show you, I kind of assumed that I should just be like putting pictures in this place and that place. And I'm like, you know what? No, just keep it very simple. You're overwhelming yourself.
Okay.
You're not a graphic designer.
Right.
Just put the clothes on, put them on there on the first landing page. And eventually, once you have a vision of how you want your website to really look like, then maybe you can hire someone or, take the time to figure it out. Because I had like the 14-day free trial. And by day 13, I was like, I just need to keep it simple.
I love you.
Like, yeah.
I'm going to share my screen just to show everyone, because I realized now that we're on Zoom.
Right. Yes, you can do this in Zoom.
You're going to see my crazy, like I have so many tabs like, but Threads of Habit. So let's check it out. I like that it's minimalist.
Yeah.
There's your quote. The chains of habit are 2 weeks
there we go.
until they are too strong to be broken. These are the
chains
of habit.
That is the quote that I could not remember.
You just got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really serves a great purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Thank you.
And then you have a blog, which is, wait. Your blog's over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Only one post so far, but I'm working on that.
That's what marketing is. So yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's super easy. Like, and then you just categorize everything.
Yes. Yep.
Great. So Shopify. What are other platforms you looked at, like Wix or?
I think I read like a few articles that kind of compared the differences and the pros and cons, and pretty much just a lot of articles were like, just do Shopify. So I was like, okay. Yeah, just do Shopify. I didn't, there was articles comparing like Shopify and Wix, and I didn't even bother with Wix, so I just went straight to Shopify.
Amazing. I've only ever had a WordPress site, so I'm not super familiar. WordPress is even more complicated, but guys, like, note to self, go check out Shopify as an option for you in the future. There's a Habit. It's a beautiful website, super easy. So we sort of talked about this, but like when you started Threads of Habit, maybe even like when you quit your job, right? To focus more on this business, you had some goals. Have they remained the same, or have they changed last year or so?
I mean, the goal, like originally when I quit my job, it was because, I wanted to take this more seriously, but I also felt like I didn't have time to design these pieces, these upcycled pieces, and sew them and everything. So I think that's where it came from, like the real need and desire to like kind of transition into a designer, so, but vintage, there will always be vintage on Threads of Habit. Like that's, number one priority. But I just felt like I needed more time and, more energy to put into my creativity. This is like my creative outlet. And, you know, I have a toddler and I'm pregnant. So it's like.
By the way, she's 28 weeks pregnant. We forgot about that. Halima is awesome.
Yeah. So like I didn't, you know, working a 9 to 5, having a toddler, being in a relationship, it was like something's got to go. And it ended up being the job. So
understandable.
Yeah.
Let's share my screen again because I want to see the reworked pieces. So
okay,
there they are.
Yes. So
oh,
everything is made from obviously thrifted materials, mostly vintage. I'm trying to keep it as so that it's vintage that I'm using. So like what you clicked on, that broad top, that was made from 2 different robes.
Wow.
And, yeah. So, and then if you click on the lingerie collection, that was like the first collection that I actually did with this vintage lingerie.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this is like really like the end goal is to have.
Yeah. That is the end goal, is, you know, for Threads of Habit to grow into, you know, more of design, you know, more of my design.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
That is stunning.
Yeah.
That is stunning. That looks like gosh, what is her name? It's like, it looks like, sorry to compare you to a designer, but I'm like thinking, like it looks like this designer. I'm blanking on her name. Okay, this is incredible. Now, have you sold these pieces at the market?
People have tried them on, but I have nothing from the lingerie collection yet.
Yeah.
That's the thing with like this whole sustainable fashion, upcycle, this like, you got to price your pieces for what they're worth, you know? And even like originally I had my things priced a bit lower.
Yeah.
And the girl, Kristen, who ran the fashion show that, you know, I had these pieces in, I sent her my original prices and she's like, this is not enough. Like, you need to boot. Like, do you want this to be your livelihood? Like, she kept it real with me. Is like, you need to up your prices. Like, these are one of a kind pieces. You handmade them. So, you know, but that's the thing. Like, when people come to a market, that's another thing I need to explain to them. It's like, okay, I made these. You know, this is why they are priced the way they are. They're one of a kind, and then they start to get it because people have walked by, so $220 for that, and I'm like, well, they're gone already, so there's nothing I can do. But it's like, you know,
it's all building your brand.
Yeah.
All day. I mean, I need to do a whole series on branding for Thrift Boss Babes, like just like talking to people, like different strategies and manners. But no, you are doing incredible things, and I love hearing from people who are like, I'm in it to win it. And I know that we've covered a little bit of this, but is there something else, just as like a final question? Is there something else looking back that if you could do it differently, you would do it differently? And what is that thing? Or maybe there's nothing. Maybe we covered it all.
Well, I think we kind of covered it when I mentioned about quitting my job and just not being prepared for this whole new lifestyle. Like I said, it's challenging, you know, and I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, there's so many like memes on Facebook where it's like, you know, so motivational, and I just kept seeing these and they were like boosting my confidence even more to be like, you know, yes, girl, you got this, you know, like so
I talk to myself every day.
Like, yeah, like I said, my heart is like fully in this. But it's like the management and, you know, certain other parts of the business that I'm still struggling with. And so
it is it's such a process. You know, the number one thing I tell people is follow the money. As soon as
That too.
you throw stuff against the wall, right? And you're like, okay, no. And then you're like, all my denim cutoffs sell. And they really sell when I do this.
Yeah.
Maybe I should focus denim cutoffs, right?
Yeah. That's another thing, is like being like flexible, because, you
Yeah.
know, I kind of have like a mindset, like I told you before, about like, I want everything on one website. And it's like, no, you have to spread yourself out, especially, you know, especially when you're not making as much money as you want to make. You can't just be like, I'm just going to do my own website, you know? So
you have to be like, yo, I mean, I'll do whatever it takes at first.
Yeah.
Just to keep it circulating. So I love this. So Halima, where can people find you besides threadsofhabit.com?
They can find me on Instagram as well, at Threads of Habit. I'm on Etsy too. I think if you if you do Etsy.com/Threads of Habit, it's, you know, a lot of the stuff is cross-posted. But those are, you know, that's where I'm at now. And then I hope to be back, you know, out in these streets and the markets. I'm going to have a newborn, so that's going to be another challenge.
Vintage money. The baby will be holding the money.
Yeah. So that'll be, you know, that'll be another challenge come spring. You know, I'll see how that goes, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
It's going to go perfectly. And Halima, we're going to hang out with you in Thrift Boss Babes for a couple of days. So if anyone has questions for Halima or want to friend request her, she's tagged here. And you can ask questions and tag her in the comments so that she sees them. Go follow her on Instagram, see her beautiful baby belly. She was stunning in her last photo. I was like, oh my God, I want to look like that when I'm pregnant. She's a true inspiration to all of us. And thank you so much, Halima.
Of course, anytime. Thank you.
Bye.